Race 6, and we're in Abuja, Nigeria. Sebastian Ocampo on pole from Revo, and last season's race winner, Oscar Falstad. Akari Lopez starts 4th from Lewis Olsen and Daniel Bogdasarov. Then it's Jack Carter, not QE, Cable down in 9th, and T. Gabo running out the top 10. Sims starts 11th from Pierre Gasly and P. Sierra, championship leader. Then it's Cici, Fabness Jr., Santino Milan, Daf Sanchez in 17th, Cosmos, Leo in 19th, Tommy, Bastian Tan, and Miguel de Souza. The top 4 comprising of all but one of the World Drivers' Champions on the grid. All 5 lights go on for the Abuja Prix. And Nigeria goes green, and that's a very good start from Revo off the line. Possibly even better than what Ocampo had. Oscar Falstad looking to the inside of the 2 championship winners in front of him, as Sierra, championship leader, getting a 5-second time penalty down in 14th position. But Revo leads the field away from Oscar Falstad, who's now down in 3rd position. Ocampo has found his way past the Norwegian. Akari finds his way past the Norwegian. It's going to be, virtual safety car. Jonathan Sims is out of the race. And his front tyre bouncing over the catch fence. And that's par for the course of incidents around this track. Sims out, as we're on board with the championship leader in the number 97, P. Sierra. And the man currently 2nd in the World Driver standings, that was Jonathan Sims. He's out of this race. The gap between Revo and Sierra, just pointing this out, race leader and championship leader, the gap between them heading into this race was 39 points. This would be a massive swing for the title, and we're only 6 races in. This is the first third of the championship ending after this race, and it's Revo who's going to lead us to lap 2 of 12. Sebastian Ocampo in 2nd position, closing in on the DS Automobiles man in front of him. Leo for Aurelio Pinnacle, the only driver who decided to start on hard tyres, but Ocampo to pass the DS Automobiles man. It had been heavily rumoured that he would be moving to the Golden Black team, but he's decided to stay with Andretti, the red, white, and the blue, and Ocampo leads the field on lap 2 of 12 from other champions, including Akari, Falstad, and, to point him out, Cable, on board of the Season 10 champion. He's one of the most experienced drivers on the grid. He drives the number 89, and considering that he won in Season 10, it's fitting that he's in 10th, but he's going to get bumped down to 11th position. Cici up into 10th position for his last Abuja E3. Santino Milan getting a 5-second time penalty. This is not Nissan Nismo stay. The Japanese outfit down in 13th and 19th with a 5-second time penalty to both drivers. Sebastian Ocampo getting a fastest 2nd sector of anyone. Cici getting a fastest 2nd sector of anyone. Falstad getting a track limits warning. You get 4 of those, and it's a 5-second time penalty for said driver. But I think Oscar might have a good shot of taking 3rd here. Closing in on the Philippine number 10 in front of him. Pulls to the inside, heading down the straight. Drag race down to the line. And Akari probably won't want to fight this too hard. And Falstad doesn't go for the move. Bogdasarov's found his way past Lewis Olsen. His soft tyres are beginning to go off what we call the tyre performance cliff. Or just the cliff, almost the wall, and he has to drop down to 5th position because of the high weaving he had to do. He is not the weave master, as P. Sierra looking for a way to go past Pierre Gasly, and Gasly going quite slowly, trying to manage his tyres, as Revo all over the back of Sebastian Ocampo. This is for the race lead, last time out, race lead and win decided by 0.05 seconds, 5/100ths of a second. Hopefully we can see close finishes like that this time out as well. But it looks like this race could come down to strategy if Leo being down to 19th means anything. He's 12 seconds off the lead. I am keeping my eye on Leo because he's the only man who decided to start this race on the hards. And the hard tyres, so far from what we've seen, have been quite hectic. But look at that. Attack mode for both Revo and Akari and Falstad. Revo dropping off the back of Ocampo quite a bit. And he might want to come in, yes. Revo is the first man to come into the pits. Not very happy with the soft tyres. He's going to pit onto mediums. He's probably doing this to make sure he's got a tyre offset to the cars around him. As Cosmos comes in with Ironet Babanus Jr. But yes, Revo, the first man to come into the pits, and he will come out of the pits in 18th position. Nothing to be worried about. This is par for the course. But you've got this big train of cars from 12th down to 17th. PCR. Oh, that's the wall! Ironet Babanus Jr. hits the wall. Hits it hard. His teammate came into the pits. But that's Babanus Jr. in the wall. He's lost part of his front wing. He will have to come into the pits at the end of this lap. Looked like he'd have to anyway, considering the state of his tyres. But Sebastian Ocampo still leads this race from Falstad and Akari Lopez, the number 10 for Aurelio Pinnacle, season 15 champion. I'm just going to point this out about the Aurelio Pinnacle livery. Yes, it's very different to the pre-season test livery they ran. It's a lot more akin to the FG series operation, except now it's all uniform in colour. Attack mode is active for Akari and Falstad. Falstad possibly looking for a move. No, they all peel into the pits. Top 3 drivers, Ocampo, Falstad and Akari all into the pits. I'm going to go on board with Akari Lopez just to see how quick these stops will be. CC and Pierre Gasly all into the pits as well. Lewis Olsen, for I believe the first time in his career, leads a Formula E Monoposto Championship race here in Nigeria, ahead of Jack Carter and Enoch Huey. What a top 3. And oh, yellows down in sector 1. Someone slid off. Out of this race has gone Bastien Tan. Oh dear, he's been wall running that turn, has he not? And I think he's just done that on his own. So sorry we couldn't catch that. But the McLaren driver out of this race. And that might hinder the team quite a bit. Virtual safety car is ending then. As we now go back racing we were on board with U-Cable, currently in 4th place for Braun Honda GP. Braun Honda, their powertrain hasn't looked as quick as it did come the season end of season 18. So here in season 19, U-Cable probably wishing to right the wrongs of yesterday, as PCR championship leader right around his tail. Revo up in 7th position ahead of Leo, so the threat of the Philippine man and his tyre strategy has been omitted, as in come the top 6. Yeah, top 6 all into the pits. Revo leads from Leo and Sebastian Ocampo, your top 3. And I heavily doubt, for whatever reason, I just don't think Leo, who won the season opener in Tokyo, Japan, I don't know if he'll be able to catch up. He's 1.5 seconds off the back of Revo. His tyres are beginning to give way. 2 seconds off the back. Revo's really pulling away from the Aurelio Pinnacle man, and probably because he might not like his tyres as much as he would have wished to. Here comes Sebastian Ocampo, his countryman. He's 2 tenths off the back. T-Gabo out at the Prix. Oh, that's his front wing and tyre flying across the track. And that's going to bring a speedy end to Procedure's virtual safety car. Once again, called. Oh dear. On board with Falstad. The McLaren team brought upgrades to this race, but I'm not too sure if they really would have wanted to do it right now, considering the hectic amount of crashes we've seen, and it's only half race distance. We go back racing then. Revo leads 3 seconds ahead of Leo. Seemingly any hope of a brilliant photo finish like we saw last time out gone. Leo Well, he's going to be overtaken by Ocampo here. He's probably going to be overtaken by Bogdasarov heading into the final turn if he chooses not to pit. So rounding the final turn, in comes Leo. It's been a valiant effort from the number 30 Aurelio Pinnacle driver, as now he will fight for some points. He's the only one in the pits on this lap. Oh, look at that fight for position. Cable having to get out of harm's way to keep himself ahead of Miguel de Souza, setting it on Babinis Jr. alongside. They go. No contact made, thankfully. Tommy acting as a bit of a stopgap here, on board with Cable alongside. No one currently. Santino Milan on board with the Argentine driver. As you can see, up ahead, roars of the crowd, and that was Miguel de Souza in the barrier. Didn't get damage to his front wing. He'll be able to continue on his merry way. Leo came out of the pits at the back of the pack, but with some of the freshest tyres of anyone. Ocampo now all over the back of Revo. Leo acts as a bit of a stopgap for the Andretti driver, who now is all over the back, all up in Revo's mirrors. Falstad trying to get past Bogdasarov. Ocampo with attack mode, heading into the final turn. We're hearing quite possibly that Revo could come into the pits. Yes, he does. Revo's in the pits, robbing us of what could have been a brilliant fight for the lead. Sebastian Ocampo up into first place with 4 laps to go. Now, Revo, once he comes out of the pits, will be able to fight the rest of the grid with the cleanest tyres possible. As here comes Falstad, as Carter in 5th position, new fastest lap of the Prix. Falstad looking for his way past Bogdasarov. They go alongside each other and goes out for the 2nd week in a row, the 3rd week in a row, in fact. Oscar Falstad is out of an E-Prix. He goes out here in Abuja, and it means no points for DS McLaren TGR. A far cry from their experiences last season. And for Revo, this is quite possibly a really, really bad place for him to be in, or he's just enjoying this, being able to manage his tyres a lot better. Maybe under that virtual safety car, if it was green, he would be up in 14th, fighting his way up into the points pay positions. But we will never know, because of course that didn't happen. We didn't go green for the entirety of that last lap, as Akari being held up by Daniel Bogdasarov, looking for his way past the Frenchman in front of him, whose tyres beginning to go off that cliff, beginning to lose performance. Sebastian Ocampo, your race leader, still rounding the final turn to start the 9th lap of the E-Prix. As now, Akari up into 12th, Bogdasarov pits. Here comes Lewis Olsen for Dragon Renault Racing. Gets covered off by Jack Carter, who takes 2nd position away from the season 15 champion. Lewis Olsen all over the back of Akari, looking to try and fight his way by. Many drivers coming into the pits for their 2nd stop. Here comes Olsen, looking for a way down the inside, making sure that he wasn't too close, so then he wouldn't slide into the wall like his countryman before him. Olsen still looking for a way past Akari. We've got yellows in the 1st sector, and P. Sierra, championship leader, in the wall. He's hit his teammates. Both Nissan Nismos in the muck of it. I cannot believe what I've just seen. Leo, struggling out there, had to let Cici go by him. And that could be a pivotal moment, not just in this race, but for the championship, because that's meant that Revo now 18 seconds off the race lead, but worse than, so far away from the rest of the field. Luckily for him, no damage, but the 2 Nissan drivers dropping down the order, 10th and 12th, and if he's not careful, Santino Milan could drop to 13th here, because here comes Cici all over the back of him. Can he see an opportunity in his final season in the FEMC? And he's not quite close enough to get himself up into 12th position. Babinis Jr. and Cable fighting over 5th as they now head into the pits. All of these drivers coming into the pits. Does Revo sniff an opportunity to take the lead with 2 laps left to go? His soft tyres beginning to go off the cliff. Revo takes the lead of the Abuja Prix. The Italian leads from the 2 Andretti Hondas of Dav Sanchez and Sebastian Ocampo. And Sanchez doesn't come back with an answer for him. He's a second and a half behind and dropping quickly. Sebastian Ocampo, his teammate, closing in on the Andretti Honda in front of him. His own teammate, his countryman, 72 versus 76. Here comes Ocampo, and he's all over the back. Cosmos, oh! Oh, that's a massive crash. Oh, sorry, hits the back of the Aurelio Mahindra, tagged by Miguel de Souza. Oh, it's a wreck fest out there. UK will come to the scene. That's awful. Cosmos out of the Prix, and Tommy and Miguel de Souza. Souza getting a time penalty. Oh dear, that's awful. Not just for Mahindra, but for the Dragon Renault driver, for the Venturi driver, and for all the drivers who came up to that part of the track. Truly awful experience to go through. We could actually see today, I'm pretty sure, DS Automobiles' first double point score with 1st and 8th with the fastest lap. Lewis Olsen trying to find his way past Leo here as Jack Carter all over the back. Sanchez comes into the pits for what should be his last stop in the Prix. Revo leads the way on the penultimate lap of this race. Sebastian Ocampo is in second. He's a second away from Revo. It's either Ocampo gets past him on this lap, as long as it stays green, or we see, just like last time out, a brilliant race to the end. Revo's tyres are gone. He's 0.2 of a second and close to the back of the Italian double champion. CC currently in 4th position for Sims Motorsport in his last race in Africa. In his last race in Nigeria, rather. As Ocampo looking for a way to get past Revo. Dropping off the back now, because this is where the DS Automobiles car just really excels. Ocampo's going to get attack mode going down now. He's got attack mode. He should be closing in. He's definitely closing in. 0.3 of a second. He's going to get another helping of attack mode. This one's going to go down to the last lap of the race because Revo is romping away with the race lead now. He's found something. I'm sure he must be using some of his attack charge. Bogdasarov on the back of Ocampo as we now head onto the last lap of the Abuja Prix. It's Revo from Ocampo and Bogdasarov. Ain't no way. Exactly. Revo uses attack mode to no avail. Sebastian Ocampo takes the lead of the Abuja Prix. Revo using the last drops of attack mode that he's got. He's got nothing left. Covers off Bogdasarov and they're both in the wall. Bogdasarov and Revo both in the barriers. Pierre Gasly out of the E-Prix. And that was a stone-hard defence. Jack Carter's got himself a 5-second time penalty. It was a stone-hard, brilliant defence from Revo of the race lead. But it has come to naught. He's in 7th position now. And I'm pretty sure this race should end relatively close to the virtual safety car. VSC is ending. Sebastian Ocampo 7 seconds ahead of Daniel Bogdasarov, who is just a few tenths of a second ahead of CC. Jack Carter in 4th will relinquish that position to Akari. And for Revo right now, he's holding on to the points. In fact, no, he will almost certainly get points here today, because no matter what, he will be at least 10th, because Miguel de Souza not close enough to Tommy at all. As Akari Lopez going past Jack Carter, alongside they go, but rounding the final turn, it's gonna be Sebastian Ocampo, who will take home victory in Nigeria. Sebastian Ocampo wins the Abuja Prix, as it's gonna be a drag race to the line. Bogdasarov without a front wing. We've got to fight the second here. CC takes second from Bogdasarov. Akari 4th, as Carter is 5th. And the gap between 2nd and 3rd, a 10th of a second between 4th And 5th, also under a 10th of a second. In fact, that's 4,000ths of a second rather. Wow. Another nail-biter of a finish at the end, but not for Sebastian Ocampo, who wins in Abuja from Cici, who is leaving his team at the end of the season, and Daniel Bogdasarov. Then it's Akari Lopez, Lewis Olsen, Jack Carter, Cable, Babnis Jr., Revo, and Tommy, the top 10. Outside of the top 10, you've got Daf Sanchez, Enoch Huey, Miguel de Souza, P. Sierra, Leo, Santino Milan, Pierre Gasly was the first of the retirements, with the others being Cosmos, Oscar Falstad, T. Gabo, Vassientan, and Jonathan Sims. In the driver's standings, P. Sierra leads the way from Daniel Bogdasarov and Akari Lopez. Then it's Sebo Campo, Jonathan Sims, Santino Milan, Cici, and Revo. Enoch Huey is 9th from Miguel de Souza and T. Gabo. Then it's Leo, Pierre Gasly. He tied with Tommy, Lewis Olsen, Arnett Babnis Jr., Cable, Jack Carter, Cosmos. A tie between the two DS McLaren TGR drivers and Daf Sanchez at the back. In the constructors' standings, heading into round 7, Nissan Nismo lead the way, 30 points ahead of Sims Motorsport Nissan, who are only 2 points ahead of Renault Edams. Then it's Aurelio Pinnacle, Andretti Honda, Dragon Renault, DS Automobiles, Aurelio Mahindra, DS Venturi Formula E team, Braun Honda GP, and DS McLaren TGR. We'll see you guys next time then when the Formula E Motorsport Championship returns.